This next part here, what we're going to show you is that this 30 to 45 and 60, this is more of a positive state. 15 to 30 and 60 to 75, more of a neutral state. A 0 to 15 and 75 to 90 is more of a negative state. So we have our positive, neutral, and negative states here. Now again, one's creative, the other one's just maintenance, and the other one's pretty destructive. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip them a little bit so we look at them this way. And then just measure them here. That's 45 degrees, 60, 75, and 90. This one here is 30, 15, and 0. So what you see here is 75 degrees and 15 degrees are actually part of the same circle. This is what's really amazing. They're exactly opposite, but they're tied together. They're connected to each other. You can never have one without the other. You always have to have the opposite. And this is how it translates in vibration. So again, we have our positive state, neutral state, and our negative state, which really ties into the formulation of an atom where we have a proton and a neutron in the core, an electron floating around throughout the shell. So all of life in nature follows this law right here. Now here's what's really interesting. Remember before how I showed you how it tied in with DNA? Well, I'm going to show you the next level of that. You're going to love this. This is DNA at a perfect 45 degrees, which is this peaceful state. Now, when we go through a trauma, for instance, we hurt ourselves or we injure ourselves, say we burn our hand, we're like, oh, that hurts, and you feel it right away. What happens is in those cells there, that vibration that's generated from that injury compresses itself and it stops time. Remember, stopping time means that it turns this 45-degree vibration into this type of vibration, a high-frequency one, which is a lot more up and down. Now, something happens here with your DNA when that happens. If you have an injury and part of this, your DNA, tightens up, what happens? The other part will stretch. Now here's where your imbalance lies, but it's not really, it's not unbalanced. You see, it's still actually balanced. Because you can't have one without the other. This is the mechanism that nature generated so that it could go out of balance with still remaining in balance. So this is the really neat part. Remember before I said there's no difference between 75 and 15 degrees here. They're part of the same circle. So if you are playing out 75 degrees in some other part of your life, you are playing out 15 degrees. Well, here's how it works in your genetic code. This part here shrunk down to the 75 degrees from 45, and because this pulled in and contracted, these two areas expanded out towards your 15 degrees. So you still have perfect balance in this segment. It's just in this segment, it's actually out of balance. Okay, so this is really important. Now, let me give you another example so that you understand exactly what this means. Think of a little kid who eats a bunch of sugar, okay? Sugar is automatically going to do the opposite of this effect. Sugar speeds us up. And in other words, it's increasing time and decreasing space. So sugar is going to make our vibration go this way. But if this stretches out and expands outward, some part has to compress on your DNA here, on both sides. So this is a type of vibration that'll be generated if a little kid eats some sugar. Okay, so what they're doing, they eat a bunch of sugar, all of a sudden they're running, they're going full tilt, you know, they're having the time of their life, and all of a sudden they hit the wall. They run right into it because they're not looking, they can't see because they don't have space, they don't have that internal energy which keeps them thinking, keeps them clear-headed, keeps their focus. So they run right into this wall, bam! Everything stops, which is this point right here. That's literally this point being introduced. And it's only a matter of time because as this energy is flowing, there's only so long that they can go before they'll hit this crunch. Okay? That crunch is them hitting the wall. They cry, they're screaming, they're yelling, "Mom, Dad, help me, I ran into the wall, it hurts." They're freaking out, crying, screaming. You're hugging them, there's nothing you can do, and all of a sudden, something grabs their attention. And they stop crying as if almost instantly, as if nothing happened. And all of a sudden they get up, they give a little hug, thank you, wipe away their tears, and bam, they're off running again because what they just did was played out this last part here and started coming back into this next strip where they'll run at hyperspeed again, be completely full of energy, only to whack themselves or hurt themselves, run into something else, which is basically this part of the vibration playing out. Now, as these chemicals or poisons, sugar, starts to wear off, what happens is this starts to relax here. And as this relaxes, the stress and pressure come off of these far ends and they start to expand outward, restoring that part of your DNA back to balance, back to its peaceful state. So this is how chemicals can influence our genetic code or our own personal vibration. Again, DNA is simply just a reflection or an external reflection of an internal vibration or of a wave system. Amazing, isn't it? This is literally genetic reprogramming and understanding our genetic code simply from understanding how a pyramid works. But that's just the start. Pyramids and these systems just go forever into everything. I'll show you more.